It's our very first show of the year. Happy New Year, everyone!
Hey,
welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Elijah, Nima, Akashat, Zibiri, how are you?
Happy New Year, Nigeria.
We're still in our festive mood.
In fact, reality has come home.
Reality, work has started.
I woke up early this morning. I was late this morning. I left home. I think I left home 7. It was lucky for me to be here. The road was free.
Yes, completely.
I must have left home 7 because I was still struggling with my bags at 6:30. It was first time of the year. But thank God for for everything. I'm grateful to God for everything, including the trials. I always say that they come to form us and make us stronger.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to a beautiful year.
How was your weekend?
No, hey. YK, thank you for being such an amazing host.
Yes.
My kids love it at YK's house, and
31st, right?
Yes, yeah. I always sleep over till the next morning now because
nice.
it's a long drive, and it's just amazing. Thank
Fantastic,
you so much.
fantastic. That's good. How are you doing, Tokwe? How was your weekend?
My weekend
holidays?
Was church. My holiday was pretty family focused, cooking and taking care of my children because I didn't have any help. But I'm actually really looking forward to the new year. I'm launching into agriculture. It's been in my website for the past 2 years of being in real estate that I'm doing land and agriculture, but I haven't done agriculture. So this year, just before we enter the new year, we closed it on 100 acres of land to plant yam. So the plan is. I've seen a model that works. Yam can grow in Lagos, and it is just as good as yam from anywhere around the country. And so, I'm excited about going into farming in the new year.
We'll still talk about all our plans. How you doing, Mariam? How was your holiday? I love your jewelry.
That's
BS Craft.
Nice.
I'm wearing BS Craft.
Beautiful.
On your wrist, just lovely.
Beautiful.
Thank
Gorgeous.
you so much, BS Craft.
I need to check them out.
So amazing, with your gifts and creativity. It's just lovely. But I enjoyed my holiday. This has got to be one of my very best holidays ever. I was not under any pressure to dress up and go anywhere. Everyone came over. I have my best friend's kids in my house. They live in Abuja, but they've been around for Christmas. It's like best friends for my children. I'm just so excited. It's just exactly how I wanted it. I've always wanted it to be. So
cool. I had my in-laws around, and I
saw you on Instagram, Rayo.
Auntie, you have to beg me, Auntie. Ajade must say,
it's okay.
We are not going anywhere. Leave us alone. We are okay. Our daughter said, this is not a holiday. I said, why? Because how did you rest? I said, I'm sorry. So this is the whole of last. So this weekend we rested, and we have a nice community in the estate. So we're having a small house party today.
Okay, like the
small a small estate of 12 families having a hangout today. And then this week I have a party on Friday. I said, it hasn't really ended, but
you cannot help yourself.
I can't help myself. I love to go to parties.
And you get invited a lot.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
It was fun.
What you
do?
Honestly, having fun.
It's crazy, but the kids had fun. We had a blast. The children had a lot of fun. We had the bangers. I know it's illegal. It's illegal. We had the bangers, the kids. We did a lot of things. Anyway, let's go on a quick break. Fireworks. Not the English word here, but fireworks. Yes, and it was fantastic. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll just read you the front page because we're not even ready to start reviewing papers. We don't know what's going on in Nigeria. In the last 1 week, we've not booted properly, but we'll tell you what happened in the front page. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with the front page of The Nation. Obasanjo under fire for endorsing LP candidate Obi. Auditor General of the Federation, 17.877 million barrels of crude oil exported without records. We also have 18 die in New Year Day accidents. Why 2023 will bring, what 2023 will bring, says Pastor Adeboye, Oyedepo and Olukoya. Ganduje Akeredolu Bello drum up support for Tinubu, and 2 feared killed in military checkpoint attack by gunmen. Okay, so let's say very quickly what is in the Punch. Someone on TikTok? Do you have it?
No, you sent you.
The Punch. Obasanjo endorses Obi as Atiku Tinubu camps protest. Ajah policemen caught drinking on duty and abandoned work. Picture story of a new year. Governors' wives welcome first babies with gifts. They do that.
I always love that.
Every governor's wife always does that, which is really, really cool. Ogun couple killed after crossover service son abducted.
Sad story.
Motorist kills 5 dancers during party. 6 militants. Let me get that. 6 million actually. 6 million meters for deployment before June, says federal government. NCDC emergency team meets over China COVID-19 surge. Jonathan Adeboye make 100 most reputable Africans list. And scarcity, federal government plant inspection for fuel stations tanks. Okay, let us move on quickly now to Vanguard. Atiku Tinubu kick as Obasanjo endorses Peter Obi. That Obasanjo's endorsement of Peter Obi really went viral. Everyone was talking about it. Gunmen raise Ebubeagu commander's house and kills wife. Sokoto gunmen kill PDP ward chairman elder brother. Aviation sector issues in 2022, expectations in 2023. We have petrol shortage. Depot owners adamant sell petrol at 200 naira per litre. Calls for forex reform spread as transactions rise 9%. Lawyer petitions AGF over plots to arrest CBN Governor Emefiele. 2023 great year for Nigeria, says Okowa, and some balloons will deflate in 2023, says Adeboye. I was at that service, so not how I said it.
That wasn't how you
Oil
said it.
reflate. Serap sues governors over failure to account for 625 billion naira. So there are 3 major papers. So is there any other story that stuck up for you? I know we didn't read the papers today. We didn't get to read the papers. Our vendor didn't bring the paper today. But
Just later.
Yes, that was pretty
So
interesting.
that was everywhere yesterday, and it got us talking at home. You know, this time around, he said that the most important constituency is the constituency of the youth. Just something like I've always heard him say. So I was saying to my husband that it's usual for Baba to follow the crowd whenever he speaks. You know, when it was the change time, he spoke with the crowd. He's never been against the crowd whenever he writes his letter. So there's nothing unexpected in his letter for Misha. Every other person is entitled to their view. And he's just as he is to his own view.
So I always like stories about the first of the year, starting the year on good news, you know. So it's a bit sentimental. I don't know who started this particular thing where the first ladies would go to the hospital and welcome the babies. But I feel like it's interesting to be born on the first of the year.
Yes.
And imagine if you are now born in a hospital where the governor's wife comes to visit you. So it's just sort of, and you know, we're all mothers. So Burton is a very, very...
You have touched a chord in my heart.
You just reminded me, it's my sister's birthday today.
Oh, yes! Imagine that. Happy birthday, Mariam's sister.
Ramat. Happy birthday, Ramat. Oh my gosh. I'm such to be like, what's happened?
like you did.
So just the final paper, then we'll go on a break because we have 2 really important guests.
Powerful guests.
That's why we want to wrap up quickly today. Daily Sun, very quickly. Presidency of Obasanjo endorses Peter Obi. Adeboye Olukoya seek prayer for Nigeria, one of dangers ahead. And Ohaneze Middle Belt Forum, Areva Youth, Onayekon, PFN, all list qualities of Buhari's success. So we have to wrap up on paper review. As I said it's earlier, we have two really special guests today. So we have to start off quickly. We're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're bringing our first guest of the year. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni, Yeni, Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger!
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
Ha. I'm not here to answer questions, I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
Eh?
I said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75.
I confirm.
Fellas wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Ọmọ ọmọ fẹlá ọmọ Anikulapo Kuti. Wọ́n rò pé kíní kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting.
You wouldn't want to work with who?
There's no judgment.
No, and I
Oh, they'll
respect,
judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we won't
this
judge
certain
you.
type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
Resentment from
on
who?
you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Mom just come and work with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it, but if I find out,
when they are nice divorcees,
I would just.
What if they are nice?
Okay, now it depends. If you are nice, cool. But if you are the type that you don't know how to keep your anger to yourself, you always pour it on somebody. Well, I'll just drop my resignation letter, no matter the amount you're paying me.
So it's more passive-aggressive people.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, definitely.
And I cannot work with stingy people.
See this one.
Because you cannot be passing me in the morning, afternoon. I can say, oh, yeah, I'm working. Oh, yeah, take 100 naira, take 10K, take 15K. You don't have to be my sugar daddy or sugar mommy. See, the way you treat others is the way they will treat you outside. And if you cannot treat your workers well, they are not a good boss. If you cannot be dashing me small thing or giving me donuts when I'm working, you are not a good person.
Lush hair, be beautiful.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us now is the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Senator Olorunniyi Mamora. He'll be speaking on the science and technology drive of President Muhammad Buhari's administration. He's also speaking to us on the ambition of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu at some point. Welcome to the show, sir. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Right. So in the last few months, we've been seeing quite a few things that the president has been doing, you know, almost like a recap of his administration. And we haven't heard so much about what he's done in science and tech and innovation at best. Could you just give us a summary in what your ministry has done, especially in this administration, and your plans in the next few months before he closes out?
Right. Thank you very much. To start with, let me say Happy New Year to all of you, and everybody's looking radiant. And
Thank you, sir.
So, you see, the first thing is to say that the mandate of the ministry, it takes its root from the Constitution itself. And when you look at the Constitution under Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy, under Section 18 of the Constitution, precisely subsection 2, it says government shall promote science and technology. And when you look at science, technology, innovation, in all ramifications, you're looking at what is popularly known as smart everything now. Smartphone, smart television, smart car, smart houses, and of course smart cities. And essentially what you're looking at is automation, if you like. That's the main thing. Irrespective of what your field is, you need automation to get things done faster, to get things done better, to achieve bigger results. Now, we have our policies, various policies that are in place, from which various projects take their route as well. And of course, these policies are driven by the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. We have 18 agencies, you know, and of course mostly research institutes, research agencies or research-based institutes. And, you know, these are the, call it, the implementing agencies for these various programs.
We're still Minister of State for Health.
Yeah.
And so I will not really drain you too much because I am not pleased. I followed the work of the past Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation until date. I'm very displeased with him. and his, the work, because I know that industry, that ministry is one that would spark the jobs that we're looking for. I kept looking towards the solutions that will come. And, I would have loved that he had a list of works of young Nigerians that were assisted by that ministry and that are doing internationally well. Because we see when they cross the border to somewhere else, something miraculous happens. So under this, I would not want to, I don't think it will be right now. Or did you take over any such from him?
Now, my dear sister, please don't be displeased with what? You see, there are times, when you are there are some constraints that you need to find a way to get around. I just mentioned policies. For example, the major one, you have the science, technology, and innovation policy. And of course, policy itself is just a roadmap or things that you want to do. But you may have your constraints, maybe in terms of funding, maybe in terms of even the systems around you and all that. But then you still have to act, and you can't do these things alone. You still need this partnership with private sector, with even some other agencies, or ministries and departments of governments to work together so that you can achieve. Then, even when you have, because there are a lot of things that have been, inventions that we, in various areas, in technology itself, in ICT, in electricity, generation, power, and all that. All these things are there. But again, all the various inventions that have been made, you don't really benefit from them until you take them to market. So there has to be that handshake between the research industry.
Let's get a few more questions in for you.
So, Sarah, there's this, what I'm hearing recently, because just like Nima says, the ministry isn't very front-facing, but there's the science and technology parks that I've been hearing about recently. And I would like to understand what it means and what you think the impact will be on our country.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's one of the mandates of Mr. President to us, that is to develop science parks across the country. And what we're doing is to start from one per each geopolitical zone. And we are working on that as we speak. So that we then expand. If we take one in each geopolitical zone, we can expand to one in each state. And then the Federal Capital Territory, that will be 37. And then we can go on that. But when we came in July, and I say we, my colleague, the Minister of State, and then myself. And then we looked at what we think we could do within the short space, of time that's left for us. Yes. So we were looking at what we call low-hanging fruits, that will give quick wins.
The past minister was one of the longest serving.
So we are working on those parks. It's parks, as the word says, it's where people can gather. And then you can have exchange of ideas. You can have people coming in with their own issues, with their own ideas, and then you develop what you have on ground within the ambit of our own situation.
Okay, so one of the biggest challenge that we faced in almost every industry is also bedeviling science and tech. And I don't even see how, no matter how amazing the ideas that you and the Minister for State for Science and Technology come up with, you're still going to deal with the poor electricity. You're going to deal with the fact that there are poor internet quality. You're going to deal with the fact that there is most of our brightest minds, as soon as the ideas are ripe, they are relocating. They are on a jackpot spree. We're going to deal with the fact that there is poor funding for innovation within Nigeria. And there are countries where they are calling in talent and funding them. So I don't think that it is something within your ministry alone. So the question for me is, what are the key ministries you feel need to be up and doing for science and technology to thrive in Nigeria? I would say education, but what would you say would be the other ministries that need to be effective?
Well, I've always argued that when you talk of human capital development, two ministries are key, education and health. Those are the two major ones. And I always argue that we should not put them on the same pedestal with other ministries. Yes, it's a situation of all animals are equal, but some are more equal. That's the truth. Because you cannot develop an individual if that is not healthy.
Sure.
Or you find it more difficult. So education is key. Good health is key. There are two major ones. But having said that, particularly the issue, we have Electricity Commission of Nigeria, ECN, you know. That is one of the agencies on that. And they are into a lot of things in terms of renewable energy. Because that's what we are talking about now. Renewable energy, you talk of the solar, and there's a lot that's been done in that regard. And of course, using other means, the hydropower, the wind power, name it, you know, and all that. So, because it's very key for everything, you need that power to drive the whole thing.
So, as Nima said, I wouldn't. There's a lot of questions we have on technology. I certainly do, because I watch a lot of movies, and I know that technology is one thing. A lot of these crime movies have. That's how they catch many of these criminals. So, but we won't talk about that because we know there's so much work to be done. But I'd like to touch on the relationship with Asiwaju, because I know that's one of the reasons why we also brought you. You served as chairman of actually speaker of House of Assembly during his time. Tell us a bit about the person, because a lot of people don't. There's a lot of confusion on who this person is. The people they're not clear on who. Those who know Asiwaju, but many who don't still have that confusion. What do you know about this man?
Well, thank you, Mariah. I'm happy the way you've put it. You see, some of us are privileged to have known him for so long, since at least 1988, when he came back from exile. And we were on ground, you know, and all that. So, ever since, I've been close enough to know this man. It's not to read about him, but know him from close quarters. Now, the first thing is he's a very generous person. He's even generous to a fault. But politically now, three things stand him out. The first is courage. Asiwaju is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a very courageous person. He's not afraid to take decisions. Once he's convinced that this will be in the best interest of the people. And no wonder, well, they refer to him as Lion of Body Long. Of course, if you talk of courage, the lion is the courage of a lion. The second thing is vision. Ability to see the future. And see things that others don't see. And at the end of the day, you discover that he's right about the vision. And that's one of the qualities of a leader. You know, vision. And of course, I liken his vision to that of an eagle. It says, you know, afar. The third thing is his, ability to strategize. You know, I call him a master strategist. You know, if you're a chess player, then you know the role of the knight. The knight symbolizes strategy, you know, or the chessboard, because you don't even know how it's going to move. And so those three things stand him out. And I always argue again that for me, as a party man, my duty is to promote and market my candidate. And no apologies about that. So now, in so doing, these are the things I tell people when they ask questions, you know, similar to what you asked. Okay. And
for some of us,
in terms of reaching out, you see, there is what I call the Ministry of Political Influence. He has the largest ministry of political influence. So that's where you see people from all walks of life come to see him. Because
let me go on a quick break. When I come back, I'll let Nima ask her own questions. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Lush hair, be beautiful.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ask questions if I want to ask questions. And if it's something that I saw coming, I may not even ask questions. I may just I may even tell you I saw this.
What if it's in person? But then, would it make a difference where? So like, this person might just say, you people can just be on 3rd Mainland Bridge on a bike, and the person say, babe, I cannot do it again, and you lose range. So what would change? What would change the scenario? Like, does it matter where? Do you want to have like a fancy dinner, like the film you were meant to be talking about? And then, or do you want to be on the street?
No, carry me go fancy dinner.
Or you might just una dey run for treadmill.
Or you na dey jog.
You tell you lose for your web.
Now I don't turn attempted murder.
So which would it be? Because I'm like, in person you have the closure that you want and the few injuries.
Guys, that's one place. It could be inside the car. You can sit inside the car.
Why car? Why not bike?
Who will be driving?
Why bike?
Who will be driving at this
point? The car will be
point?
stationary.
Pray I'm not the one driving.
The car
Just
will be
pray.
stationary.
Because I go master. You can't be telling me like I'm going to drive near water.
All
You must consider.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities. Right here, within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail.
Come closer. A little bit more. Perfect. I have exciting news for you. You asked for it and you got it. Your favorite breakfast show, Your View, will be going to 2 hours. We're going to have in-depth analysis of the newspaper review and more conversations on the hot topics. The ladies of Your View and I will be stirring up our guests to get in-depth into all the various topics, and you, our viewers, will have the opportunity to call in and share your views. After all, it's Your View. Join us on Your View 9. Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guests here. I was going to ask a question.
Yes, I was going to talk about your work as with the presidential candidate of the APC. So you said you know him personally. Most of us have just read about him. But the entire set that worked with him on his cabinet as governor are doing amazingly. Let's talk about how much he's mentored people. And how many young people is he presently mentoring? So we're looking towards having younger people in his cabinet if he becomes president.
Yes, you can look forward to that. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a talent hunter. So he has a way of just, identifying people who can do what. And he's still on record that he is the crop of commissioners and other people who worked with him, particularly between 1999 and 2003. I think it was the best in this country from accounts of different people. So he has that ability and beyond, and he's been doing that up to now. He has so many people that I just mentioned to you that earlier that a lot of people come to him to seek mentorship, to seek guidance, to seek for his opinion and advice, on a number of issues. So is that blessed?
Okay.
So for me, the relationship that most Nigerians, the average, don't know this person one-on-one, the presidential candidate for APC. And many of us are having to take what social media feeds us as our source of information. And social media has consistently shown a part of him not being very physically fit and him not being very healthy. And I have said on the show, I'm worried about that personally, because I don't have any other way to verify if he's healthy or not. But I've been hoping that when I get an opportunity to ask questions from someone who has a one-on-one relationship with him, I can hear from someone that how fit is he? Is he someone that, is he, based on your own relationship, can he handle the responsibilities of leading a challenged country like Nigeria?
Well, the first question is, who determines the fitness of an individual?
Doctor?
Yes, he's a doctor. I'm a medical doctor, and there is what we call spot diagnosis, where you just look at a patient and then without even asking questions, without even doing any physical examination, and then without taking any history, you just say this. So for me, I think reasonably he's fit enough to handle the job before him. Because yes, much as I believe that yes, there is need for some physical energy as well, but you probably need more of a mental energy because you are being bombarded with all sorts of things, the documents, opinions and all that, and which you need to sit down to analyze and be able to take what you think is the best in the circumstance.
So my question is, there was a sort of media party that he had, and questions were asked of him, and with him, beside him were, a few other individuals with him who also helped to answer that question, some of the questions, or give their opinions as well. And there were two sides to the response to that. And I would like to know, being a party man, being a man that has been in government, what do you think of his style, where it seems that, he's willing to involve other people in decision-making and taking out policies? Is this a man who works best with other people? And how important is that sort of strategy as the president of a country?
Well, as a president, as a governor, as a overall boss, you take the final decision.
Yep.
But what is important is to be able to process, analyze what you have been fed with. Because the buck passing stops at your table.
Right.
That's the thing. And I always say that, you see, it's only one person, as far as I'm concerned, that is elected as the chief executive at the state and at the federal level. Because every other person, and I repeat, every other person is nominated by that person. That's what the Constitution says. So, and I believe what is important is that ability to make the right decision at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Senator. I mean, it was a pleasure. We'd like to have you longer, but as I said, we have two big guests today, so we have to find a way to manage the time. But thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. We're definitely going to bring you back because we would like to monitor what the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation is doing. As Nima has said, we're not very happy with what we've seen so far, but we hope that we can see much better as you still retain that position. That's all.
Thank you very much. I can assure you that, God willing, we will finish strong and finish well as well in the ministry.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, bring in our special guest, another special guest we have. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the one who can make time stand still forever, Mr. Kelechi Amadi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
You love that intro, Abi?
Yeah. It was great.
Okay,
thank you.
We try like that.
Thank you.
Now my question, which I feel is a cheap question.
Oh, go ahead.
What does ISO stand for?
That is it. I think I'll drink.
No, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
Kelechi Amadi. No. You didn't whine me. You're whining me now.
I think I'll drink. Huh? No problem. Okay. I've always known this as ISO. I never bothered to know what it means. I know what it means, but I never bothered to know what the acronym is. Tell me the brand of camera that I use, so much so that I even became an ambassador. That's very easy. It's out there.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
I just said, let me give you this one as a token of my appreciation.
Sony.
Drink!
I'm not done. You did not say final answer.
It's final answer.
You did not ask me if that was my final answer.
You don't have any choice again. It's only
Nikon.
How many cameras do they have? My friend to drink. I gave you a very easy something.
Nikon now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome showstopper, voice, stage and film actor, CEO and celebrity mom, Oluwabamike Olawumi Adenibunyo, aka Two Shots in the Air, Bam Bam!
This is mean. I feel set up today. My guards are down. It's not fair. Guys, beg for me now. I'm hearing them saying, please.
No,
Can't you hear it?
No, they are saying you should actually drink.
Oh, when me watch this show, oh, more history me. Drink it now. You must even up the game. Mama chased. Oh man, me. No.
Joining us on the show now is the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu. He'll be speaking on why the people of Lagos State should entrust him again with their mandate. Basically, why he deserves a second term. Welcome to the show, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
Finally brought you to your view.
Well, okay.
After 3.5 years, what do I welcome?
You know how it is. Well, happy New Year.
We're happy to have you. So there's so much to talk about, so we're going to go straight into it. Your themes agenda was what we started with, and everybody was excited about transportation and what you wanted to do. I would like to start with transportation, especially because that's a major issue we have in Lagos State. People flocking into Lagos every single day. We don't understand how to manage this influx of Nigerians using the bus, the taxis. You've recently launched the rail. People are still saying it's not enough. So what is your government doing to help improve transportation across the state?
Okay, well, thank you very much, ladies, and Happy New Year once again.
Happy New Year to you.
And Happy New Year to all of your viewers. Well, so I tried to make it a bright morning for you and for our citizens. You know, it's a day in which we have a holiday, and I think there's no better time for me to have the audience and also listen. And thank you very much for having me. So you started very well. You know, transportation, right, which happens to be the first pillar in our team's agenda. You know, it was something that we designed out of questions from our audience during, you know, our campaign and after we won the election. So it's not something that just fell on us.
Right.
And you could see that it was also the ones that people had asked us the most, you know, challenging issue to solve. So it's traffic management and transportation. So to date, in terms of transportation and what has been our direct interventions in that space, right? High capacity buses, which are called the BRT, the high-end buses, we've introduced about 1,300. You know, the medium capacity, we've introduced almost about another 1,000. The last mile buses, which are like the bigger version of Korope, 8-10-seater, we've introduced about 500. And also taxis, we've introduced, you know, the lag ride, which is about another 1,000. So these are just interventions in straight, you know, road infrastructure, right? And it's road infrastructure that we see, you know, as the ones that all of us usually apply today. But you know that 1/3 of Lagos is also water. So the question we'll ask is, how well can we use the water infrastructure as a means to move people from one point to the other? The good news is that we're currently constructing, and we've actually finished 8 of those jetties. We're constructing 16 jetties concurrently, right? So they are like small terminals, right? Which, you know, people can embark and disembark. About 8 of them have been completed. So we just need time to go and commission and just cut tape, and so that we can open it up for people. So that is meant to improve movement on the waterways. But we're not sitting back just to wait, you know, for that completion. We've added about 22 ferries. 22 ferries, meaning they are carrying 60 passengers, 50, 40 in fairly big capacities like that.
Right.
I think more of the 40 and 30 in the 22, right? So we've done that intervention as well. And we've opened up, right? Just 2 weeks ago, I opened the first, what you can call the first, you know, security command and control center on the waterways, where we have CCTV cameras. Yeah, it's there. Where we have CCTV cameras, we have equipment that can remotely go and pick people from the water. Because security
so if I'm on the water, you can see me.
If there's an emergency and you drop, we have equipment. We've bought equipment. They can remotely go. They are like a ball, but they can drive on their own without anybody, and they can go and rescue you, you know, and bring you back. It was launched about 2 weeks ago, right? And we have the command and control center at Falomo. And we've done fairly enough dredging. We'll need to still do, a bit more. That's number 2.
Yeah.
Then the third one is the rail that you talked about. So the plan, for public transportation is we'll have what we call an integrated urban mass transportation system. Integrated urban using rail, using waterways, and using the BRT road infrastructure. Once all of those 3 connections are completed, right, what you will see is that we will have an interplay of a single solution of payment, the carry card, right? We went on the train when we did infrastructure commission, the carry card will open up. At the Lab Ferry is the carry card they're using. On the buses as well is the carry card they're going to. So it's a single payment solution designed by young Nigerians, Lagosians, and we're seeing it is working very, very well. So the plan eventually is to be able to reduce journey time. Tokwe, is to ensure that you as a mother, you can fairly predict your journey. A journey that hitherto will probably take you about an hour and a half or something. How can we reduce it to 30, 40 minutes? So that you can improve the quality of your life. You can pretty much determine when you need to get out and when you need to come in, right? And also to make Lagos in a resilient urban working city for all of you, right? Are we there yet? Maybe we're not fully there, but we'll have a roadmap. We have a clear vision. We have a walkthrough that will take us there.
So I live on Badagry Express.
Absolutely, I know.
And so I've seen all your work. I don't have anything to complain about, but just a little, because it's not just there yet.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for what you've done. I remember the state it was in when you came in and when you visited and promised, and it's been delivered, especially at the trade fair where my community enters and goes into the express. But I see the work going on, and I see so many other factors affecting it, especially Nupeng's activities there. Constantly, because they need to access the depot, are locked in. How do you plan to subsequently manage that? This past month has been neck deep in stress for us living in that community. Also, on that Badagry Expressway, I'm aware that from the Eric Moore to Okoko is the Lagos State handle of, side of the construction, and the ramps are being taken out. Yes, they're building the bridges overhead, but we need the ramps, like you have on Ikorodu Expressway, where you're going, maybe your community is just 2 steps ahead, you can exit.
I understand.
So what exactly is the plan? We've talked with the SA, and she insists that the design is different.
No, okay.
So I live there, I think it's not practical.
Well, okay, thank you very much, and thank you for the comments you said. So the plan around that corridor, right, is to continue to improve, apart from the right of way, so it's a road that either towards 4 lanes, 2 lanes that we have turned to 10 lanes, 10 lanes, right? So you can see it's more than double the number, right? And so the plan is to have 1 BRT corridor, have 1 lane for BRT, the most inward lane, have 2 express road, then I have 2 outer road, right? So on the bypass you're talking about, if for example you are coming in from Eric Moore, you know that at some point in time, before you get to Festac or wherever it is you're going to tee off, make sure that you will leave the express road and go on the service lane. It's when you're on the service lane that you can now get out. If you come out from Festac and you're going to be coming out at Abuja again, why would you want to enter the express road? Stay on the service lane and just continue to go until when you get to Abuja or you get to trade fair. One of the challenge, and I understand where she's coming from, is that she wants to get on the express, right? And she wants to exit because it's express, it's 2 lanes. But she wants to also exit at her own convenience. Road transportation is also not designed like that. It cannot be when express is express. Right, if I want to do 40 kilometers, I'm on express. Let me fly the express for at least 35 kilometers before I get on the service lane. But if I'm going to do 2.5 kilometers, I shouldn't get on the express. And imagine that when I want to get out, it will be available for me to get. I understand.
You see, I was smiling.
Yes.
Because what makes me want to stay on the express is not my fault.
I understand.
It's the
and I will get to it. Because so it's a chicken and egg thing. So which one should we solve first? Do you understand? So what is called an express cannot be access to everybody and anybody at every, because they are moving fast. They want to get to Agbara and begin to go to Badagry faster and quicker, and that's what we promise. But if you are moving from from Festac to Abuja to Satellite Town to this, you cannot. But I understand the challenge. The challenge which you talked about is Nupeng, for example. We're sitting with NNPC. Okay, so this is a challenge. Which one should we follow? That corridor strategically feeds about 65% of the total fuel corridor of this country. That's why you have all the tank farms there. I didn't create it, right? It's a national issue that we really cannot, and that's why, if we look at it, we didn't wait for federal government. That Buba Marwa road that I'm doing is cost us close to 10 billion, right? This is a federally used road by all of the tankers that she's talking about.
The construction.
And they will not even allow, because we're willing to the concrete is like this, that we're trying to finish up for them. So that would be some sort of a continuous conversation that we need to have with NNPC. We don't control NUPEG.
Right.
So they will tell you that if you don't give them access as well, there won't be fuel in Auchi. There won't be fuel in every part of the country. So it's something that we need to continue to solve and dialogue upon.
Let me come
to say to you, Nima, I know you need a lot of bypass roads, in that Ojo. So Iru, Mosafejo, and all of it, we're doing Afromedia, we're continuing to do those inner roads so that you can indeed have relief, not just on the express road. We'll finish, Navy Town Road very soon. We're on Old Ojo Road, so that we can have alternative. So like the one you're talking about, if you don't need to go on the express road, go on Old Ojo Road, and it's long. It's a couple of 6-7 kilometers, and we're doing it. The phase 1 of it is CC, and they've started. Okay. So you can see. So it's a solution that we're thought through, and it's happening, and we're going to deliver it.
Let me talk with John, because there's so many questions, and we have to use this 1 hour.
So many.
Okay, go ahead.
One, I need to appreciate what you've done in Ekpe. For all of us in the real estate space, your video is our biggest marketing tool. we just show your video, and people start buying, and we have to appreciate that. But whenever I'm going to Ekpe, it is war. Yeah. And it's been a very, very, in the past 2 years, two challenges that has been going on. One, a lot of people are coming into this country, into Lagos, and they become beggars on the road. So you're stopping along that Lekki axis just for traffic light, and they just gather you. They are not criminals, but they are begging. And there's a way, it's just inhuman for a human being to just leave them on the road like that. I believe that there's an industry around them, because they come there, children, babies, all of that. And it can pose a potential risk in the future. So I want to find out from you, what is Lagos State's plan to reduce the number of mothers and children that are allowed to be on the road begging? That for me is a major question. Let me just.
I thought you were talking about traffic.
Then the traffic.
Okay, so I thought he was actually good, because he said Ekpe.
Yes.
So let's take it back.
Yes.
And Tope, let's be analytic about it. So we've done an 18-kilometer road from Eleko Junction to Ekpe.
I see it.
2 lanes, we've turned to 6 lanes. Nema, they will not tell you. Rigid pavement. 2 lanes
no, I've seen it,
to 6 lanes. Highest ever level of concrete. That's phase 1 of it, completed. The phase 2 of it now start from Eleko Junction. We're coming all the way to Aja. It's 33 kilometers. We're turning it into 6 lanes as well. And they see contractors there working. She said a few things. It's the highest real estate development corridor that we cannot even keep abreast with. So when you see all of those challenges, right, and as a government we're trying to solve them, right, it becomes Herculean, because as we are laying the solutions, right, other things are coming. So we are the bane of our own, successes. Each time we have succeeded, we're attracting a lot more people onto this corridor, and so that's what you see. So Tope saw that indeed the roads are beginning to get widened up, right? And we're doing a 10-kilometer regional road, which is a bypass from VGC all the way to Freedom Road, right? 6 lanes. We're not doing 1, 2, 3, 6 lanes. We're taking it head on just for us to be able to solve it, right? So those are some of the things that we're doing on the infrastructure. And the big one, which we promised Nigerians, Lagosians, we're going to announce before the end of the year, was on the 30th, which is the 4th Milabre, which will start from your corridor as well, from Abraham Adesoya, all the way, climbing the bridge, to Ikorodu, and to sort of solve an M25 solution. That's the concept, and I think it's important for us to have. But she had asked a question, which is closer to Lekki phase 1 and phase 2 on issues around, women and children on the street. So it's a double-edged thing, right? These are Nigerians, these are your citizens that are looking for sustenance, that are looking for livelihood on a daily basis. I tell you, we go clear them almost every week, but they find themselves there. So is the solution for me to say that I want to pack them to another part of the country? No. The solution is we continue to build additional homes, and continue to give them solutions where they can continue, they can become useful to their family. You know, train them, see how they are. We can take them up and give them skills. You know, so that they become, you know, providers of jobs themselves. Right. That's the solution. It's a national issue, and you don't need a visa to come into Lagos. So it's not me that have created that. It's a social inclusion issue that we all need to continue to solve. You know, as we go along.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation with our guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power. Ginger.
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
I
said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Fellas wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Omo fella. Omo Anikula Pokuti.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison. Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka the First. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Gbenga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the questions.
You don't scare me one bit. Bata, I go drink. So.
Okay. So now one chance for Inter.
My first question. Do you remember the names of the winners of that edition of StarQuest?
Of course I do.
Why do you?
And I hate myself for this because.
point, we still have Mr. Governor of Lagos State with us as our guest. Miriam was going to ask her question. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Governor, so I know that you're a viewer of our show, and I don't know if you are aware of how passionate I am about our environment.
Okay.
Yes. So I would like to know what your plans are concerning, waste management. I know that in 2019 you talked about the landfills and the amount of waste we get. You said the 10,000 tons of waste.
Almost 14,000 metric tons.
Fantastic. And we also know that in waste there's money. And I'm wondering if you have done anything in that area since. We know that Loma is doing a lot of work. We can see the improvement in, going around and getting the waste off our streets. But when it gets to the landfills, what are we doing with that and the value chain?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Miriam. And that speaks to also the issues around climate change and all of the things that we can solve. So as a mega city, we generate between 12 to 13,000 metric tons of waste every day, largely domestic waste. Some are industrial waste, but are largely, domestic waste. And you're right, a lot of people will tell you there's money in waste, which we are beginning to see. There's a lot of sorting that is happening, that people are doing recycling, but it still hasn't answered the huge number of opportunities that is there. These are investments that I believe the private sector can indeed take on. And we've seen a few people come up, right, but they never finish through. I'm actually waiting for somebody that has the funding that is required to do the end-to-end of waste conversion. We've done waste to fertilizer in the state before, right? Organic fertilizer, right? It became unsustainable for them. Because even for them, the cost of a fertilizer when it finished, was even more expensive than the regular one. I've seen people come to me and say they want to do waste to power. And I'm saying, great, I'm ready to give you, 3,000, 2,000 metric tons, right? But you cannot say that I must, by extension, buy, whatever. You want me to give you, a power purchase first before you even come up with the thing. Yeah. I don't have a problem with evacuating the power when you finish it, right? But I'm not going to start with giving you a PPA even before you show me what your funding is. Right, and that's where usually the problem is. Because with my PPA, what it does is that you just go everywhere in the world and you just get funds in which. So we've seen a few challenges like that, and that's why we're here saying that if we see real people that have the funding, it's a long-term thing. We're ready to ensure that we transfer the waste that you require to whatever location that you need them, so that we can indeed convert this waste to whatever it is. A lot of people are doing waste recycling. They are, but it's just that the numbers are still not huge enough. And for us, the interventions that we've done is that we're building a lot of small, collection centers. We're doing about 6 of them, so that we can reduce and we can compact them more before they even get to the sanitary landfill and get them a lot more. Well, you are right. You've seen all our interventions with Loma. We've procured a lot more compactor trucks, dyno beams. We've improved them. What they look like outside. So, but the final end of it, government can really not do everything, in terms of even trying to get myself to become, a waste converter expert. Let the private sector come. The waste are there. 12,000, 13,000 metric tons. That is your source of raw material that you require. And we can sort it from your kitchen, put your yellow bottles in, put them in different compartments so that it becomes a lot easier for the private sector to want to take.
Let's talk about education for a moment, because I know that that's an area you've invested quite a bit. I mean, I hear that your education budget in Lagos is larger than a few states' entire budget. I mean, it's incredible. Could you give us an idea or breakdown what you've done? Because I know you've done basic education. Some are worried about what you're doing in tertiary. They're not really sure, especially even the vocational schools. They're not clear. They hear Excel, but what else is going on with the educational sector?
So thank you. So you're right. Year on year, we've deliberately increased our budget in education.
It's amazing.
Because we believe that is one intervention in one area that we need to show, real sustainability. I think the last year we did about between 11 and 12% of our total budget. So to date, we've built in infrastructure, we've built over 1,047 new classrooms in less than 4 years. Over 1,047 new classrooms, right? So we've touched, about 197 new school projects, and we've touched close to 1,000 different things in schools. We've added about 200,000 new chairs and benches. We've done about almost 2,000 new bed spaces in the boarding schools. We've also intervene, in all of the, vocational schools and the likes that you have. But for me, the interesting one is what we've done with primary schools, which is where we've started, which is where education truly really should start. And I'm sure, Moral, which is where EcoExcel starts from. So what we've done, is that we've been able to, have tablets that are given to teachers at primary schools for them to have the same learning curriculum, right, at that level, right, have the same lesson notes, right, ensure that we can reduce, absenteeism, truancies, and, even teachers not coming. We can remotely monitor them and see who is teaching what, and the quality of teaching across primary schools, we make them almost the same. It doesn't matter what part of the state you are. So those are interventions. And we've seen growth in the number of people coming back to our primary schools. We've actually seen, growth in the number of people coming back to our primary schools.
From private schools? From
private schools or from whatever. That's one. Secondly, in our secondary schools, which is also a place where it's important for you to hold them and ensure that you can handheld them. We've started the comprehensive school system. Comprehensive schools meaning that you can be in a school where it's not just the brick and mortar normal education that you're being. You want to teach you things around entrepreneurship, things around music, things around acting, cookery. Make sure that you're coming out with a rounded knowledge, of what you want your life to shape. So we have some schools that we've selected, to start on that on comprehensive school. So we have, over 6,000 teachers that have been recruited. Good. And we're not just doing it for pupils. We're also ensuring that we can keep our teachers in classrooms, which is always one of the problems. Because once they see something, they want to go into other professions. And how have we been able to do that? Retain them, ensure that we can identify the best teachers every year, give them skills, train them very well, and also give them vehicles. We give them brand new vehicles, best teachers year on year. Morale, you've been part of that. 13, the one for late last year, and every year. They thought we were just going to do it for 1 year and stop. For 3 years consistently. And we're beginning to see the effect. At holidays, we also intervene. They have extra lesson curriculums for pupils that are in WAEC, SSS, from year 10, year 11, studies. And you know what? We're beginning to see the results. In 3 years, when we came in, the average pass of WAEC in our schools was under 50%, was actually around 42, 45%. Now we've crossed 80%.
Wow.
In 3 years, we've crossed 80%. So, including maths and English, we've seen pass in our secondary schools to about 82, 83%. Last year, I think was about 83, 84%. So we're excited with our interventions. We're beginning to see the effects and impact of it. But one more thing I ask is that what are we doing with tertiary institutions?
Yeah.
For the first time, some of you, I'm sure, went to LASU. Our father, Latif Jakode, created LASU 40 years ago or so. We've been able to get, 2 additional state tertiary institutions, University of Science and Technology and the University of Education. So Lagos, from 1, has 3 higher.
Your critics say that it's on paper.
Hello?
That's what they're saying.
That's so unfair. When we have intakes already, when we have vice chancellors, we have the full complements of a university. We've increased our subvention 3-fold. And building Senate buildings in the school, 2 new universities as we speak. Brand new Senate buildings.
So the critics have it.
So it's real. And so what we've done is that the ones that are, that are before, they are transiting. So the ones that are maybe in the College of Education before, they are transiting in the next 2 years. So it's running pari passu. We're not dropping them, but it's running pari passu.
Sir, quick one please on education. Do you have any intervention concerning the current UK move? So the UK has declared they are going to be taking teachers. And I was saying it on the show that many of our public school teachers are the most qualified for this process they want to do. So, and I know there should need to be an intervention. What is your short-term intervention to reduce?
It's immediate. You can see, and that's what I said. One, like I'm mentioning, we need to retain them. One, every of our primary school teachers, the plan is for each one of them to have an handheld tablet. When you have your tablet, you can indeed prepare your lesson. It's going to be generic. Everybody has an idea of what I'm meant to teach next week. And it's the same standard everywhere, right? Once that is done, which is always the difficult things for them to do, they are happy going into those schools to teach. Secondly, at the secondary school levels, we're training them. Every day I sign, requests from TESCOM, which is the Teaching, Service Commission, to train over 1,000 teachers almost on a monthly basis. We're training them. Thirdly, we are giving them, encouragement. If you are the best teacher, in a year.
His money, salary going up.
Absolutely. Check it. We're the highest paying. Where they want everything that it's we're the highest paying in the country. And we're giving them brand new cars. If you get to the height of it, and it's an organic system that throws you out. You're the best teacher. We're not giving one. We're not giving two. We're giving 13 vehicles in primary, in secondary schools. So there, for 3 years consistently, I see my secondary school, primary school teachers having brand new the ones that have won, laurels at national level, we've given them even 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom houses. So that the idea is not, to just throw prices at people, is to encourage others. It's to say that you will be identified and you'll be encouraged. Right? And so it's
let me throw if you want the
Our fans are greeting you on Twitter and Facebook.
Thank you.
Johnson says, say what you want. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu is competent. He knows his onions, and you can really catch him off guard. And Cold Funky says, that's questions. I'm from Rivers State. I always tell people I wish our governor was Jide Sanwo-Olu, and the only governor with brain cells and all of that.
Okay, let me take my own question.
He has this one. Says he's not an APC supporter, but he's a train enthusiast. He's voting you for second term if you can assure the completion of the blue and red lines. He says he's seen the work, but he wants to.
So maybe I should mention that for them. Thank you. So we've completed the phase 1 of the blue line. And the news that I'm going to pass on is Mr. President himself will be coming later in the month to come and officially commission the blue line. So the blue line, the phase 1 of it is from Mile 2, close to you, to Marina. Right? There's 5 stations on that corridor, and we've finished it, completed. The new trains, we've seen one. Additional trains are in the ports that they're going to be cleared this way. Additional trains, and you see them before the end of the month. So we're ready. It's a rail that is running on electricity, which is for climate change. Miriam,
we have
IPP. We have IPP, so it's going to be dedicated, air conditioned, everything. And it's an intercity train. Meaning that it understands that we have load, we can carry load. It's open, you can walk in, walk out very quickly. That's phase 1. When President, we're starting the phase 2 again. And the phase 2 is from Mile 2 all the way to Okokomaiko. The beauty of that one is in the middle as well. The right of way is there, Nima. And it will be done quicker and faster because it's not elevated like the first one, so it's at grid level. So we will finish it up in no time. That's for the blue line. The red line, for me, is even the one that my heart beats a lot for because of the level of infrastructure that the red line will do. And we will complete it. By the way, we've got only about 147 days to May 29 this year, which is the thing that I signed with Lagosians. We will finish it in our first. Oh yes, we will finish the red line. The red line is from Oyinbo all the way to Agbado. Agbado is actually in Ogun State. We extended it because we wanted to catch all of the traffic to make it.
Why do people near Agbado?
No. It's the old. It's Lagos West. It's Agege, Ikeja, Agege. Ayola Koka, Dopemu. It's an old rail corridor. So we built our own with the federal government, going Lagos, Ibadan. Right, so they will leave from Ebute Metta, go straight to Agege and get out of Lagos. But we will start from Oyinbo. We do, Ebute Metta, we do Yaba, we do Ilupeju, we do Mushin, we do Ikeja, we do Agege, we do Ayola Koka, we do Iju, then we do
okay, sir, let me throw a few more questions for you.
It's a whole stretch.
Our governor is on ground, exactly every corner. But also, one of the things I admire about you is, for people where we build houses without fire exits and things like that, you put it into consideration. You rolled out about 62 fire trucks recently, and all this infrastructure, whether we like it or not, there'll always be health and safety concerns. So concerning the trains now, the blue rail, what are the measures you've put in place? You've explained to us with the waterways, the emergency interventions. What would be that for the rail lines?
For the rail lines. Okay, so thank you. Inside the trains themselves, they have CCTV cameras, right? We're not going to rush to start operations next week or next 2 weeks. We're going to ensure that we can carry you free of charge. We'll invite your view one day. You go with other stakeholders. We go on a free ride to experience how you embark, how you disembark, how you use the turnstiles, how you use your card, and you're able to feel the entire terminal. It's an experience. You come into a station terminal, it's supposed to be an experience, where you have cafes and and viewing centers and all of it. So all of that will be installed with CCTV cameras. The track itself are going to be wall off, right? So you don't have anybody on the track for whatever reason. So inside the terminal buildings, there will be CCTV. They're going to have their own local security. Inside the trains themselves, there will be security, you know, and you need to have a turnstile to be able to go to the platforms. You know, the platform is where you are embarking, and it's elevated. All the platforms are elevated, you know, so you need to get in, get out, know how to in and ingress and outgress. All of that we will do for a month or two, so that there's a lot of advocacy, you know, market women, children, you know, civil society groups, civil servants. People will come in and have an experience, you know, free. Just so that they get to understand it, have a feel of it before, so that you're not just coming to, and so people will train you and teach you.
Let's talk about health, because I would like to move into health. There's a lot of, want to talk about
I want to say that before we go into, it cuts across everything you're doing. We spend so much money on commissioning projects, sir. I've said it on the show before, that we can't be putting budget towards commissioning in an economy that is struggling. And as rich as Lagos is, I know that we still need funds. So I'm just... on behalf of all of us that have complained behind the scene, that can we reduce the commissionings that we do? Like, we know you're working, but we don't need to spend money doing elaborate ribbon cutting processes.
So I'll give you a simple example. In one day, offline, we commissioned 15 brand new schools building, and I did not need to leave, you know, a venue for me to go around and go and come. And it was the teachers and the pupils in those schools that did the commissioning themselves. And I was in one location. In one single location, just with a few of us there, and we commissioned 15 projects in one full sweep. Like I mentioned to you, right, there are several things that have been, there's several roads that we never even got to commission, that people have started using, you know. So we went to Ishuti the other day, we don't need to. People are beginning, we just want the citizens to understand and take over this asset and use it well.
I'd like to see you commission at least the completion of the Tedimu road. That road has been over-awarded. I live there.
Tedimu,
that road.
You know, it's not an interesting road, because what had happened, you know, I was telling you offline, is we've had a bridge failure there before, and truthfully, we needed to do it and do it well, right? So the bridge component is now being completed. It's the road infrastructure that we need to finish, you know, and I can assure you it will be completed and it will be done. I'm doing for you Ishefun Afro Media all the way to area.
I'm not going that far.
Anyway, because there are people that are there. There are people that are there as well. So it's the whole gamut.
Let me go back to some of your critics, because I try to, like outside. Your critics have said that one of the problems they have in Lagos State is that if it costs 10 million naira to do something, Lagos State will say it's 100 million naira. That they are chopping half the money. Everybody says, it's not the real value. That yes, you are celebrating Link Bridge, you are celebrating 3rd Milan, 4th Milan Bridge, you are celebrating all these things. But the real was the cost. The real cost.
Moira, and you're right, because a lot of people, we need to educate people.
Yes.
Lagos is below the sea level in terms of, you know, the texture. And so the simple question you ask them is that, how much does it cost to do a 3-story building in Lagos and do a 3-story building in Auchi, for example, or in Oyo State, for example? The amount of infrastructure that you put underground, the amount of deck on pile that you put on our bridges, the amount of rigid pavement that we do on our road, it's not compared to almost any part of it because of its soil structure that we have. I just mentioned to you that the bridge first failed. It's because of the structure of the soil. No school that we're doing beyond 2-story that we don't need to do pile. And you're not doing short piles, you are doing 45 meters pile. You are doing 38 meters pile. So that's to do a 3-story. That's what you put underneath.
It's much more.
Is much more. If you're doing your 2-story building, if you want to, your contractor will tell you, you need to do German floor, you need to do some exactly. It's because of our structure. And that's what it is. For me to do a road, apart from skyfying, the level of compaction that you need to do, the amount of excavation that you need to do for it not to fail, right? It's enormous. If you look at the road from Osborne going towards 3rd Milan, that whole stretch is a bridge. It's a bridge. It's a bridge. So a lot of people don't know, and that's the flip side of climate change in Lagos. It's because of the terrain of where we found us.
This is a very good explanation, because I'm one of the critics that is always shouting that.
So you see it in your estate development. See the amount of money they say if you want to do 3-story
internship now. So
exactly.
I have another. We'll take the questions of online after our break, because I wanted to finish up with the core questions for you.
Let's go to
I have another theme on health. I want to talk on health, but another thing your critics say, I'll talk to you.
There's so many.
Let me go to health.
Go to
so Nima and I, we use General Hospital.
Good, fantastic.
Because we gave birth. We gave birth in a general hospital.
Yes,
you cannot take it from me.
Absolutely.
I used it.
I stayed in a general hospital for 6 months.
So you cannot take our experience. Okay, but to the point. It is still, and I understand that the facility is being overworked, but I feel that I want to find out from you.
Yes.
What would you highlight as your key health achievements in the past 4 years? What are the improvements that you are most proud of in the health sector? And what would you do to make it even better for those that use the public health system?
Okay. So without sounding like a broken record, in my view, one of our strongest success in health in 3.5 years was the fact that I kept all of you during COVID alive. And you see, we tend to forget.
Yeah, we do.
We tend to forget where we're coming from. If indeed Lagos carried 50% of the total burden of this country, and as a government we're able to proactively put in place structures that kept us all safe throughout that period, we had 4 levels of spikes, and what the whole world said was going to happen to us didn't happen, right? A bit of credit needed to come there, and it slowed us down in some other areas, right? But that's it, and we're able to continue to lead the country throughout that space, so that is something that I need to give not the credit to me, but the entire health, family that I have, all of the frontline health workers, the doctors, the nurses, the interventionists, all of them rised up. At the time, some of them were living, in rented hotels for a week, for 2 weeks. They were not going home because we didn't want them to even infest their family. They were all so that for us, it's a pandemic, is a generational solution that nobody can take away from us. That's one. Secondly, in terms of specifics, infrastructure is important, right? We've built 4 additional hospitals, right? In Etiosa, 110 bed. In Badagry, 110 bed. In Ekpe, 110 bed. In Alimosho, 110 bed. I mean, real topic that we've commissioned, handed over, brand new hospitals. No, I'm coming, man. I'm coming, man. So these are things that, we have new ones that we're building, and we're taking it to another level. We're building the biggest children's hospital in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, the New Mercy Children's Hospital, on 10 floors. We're building
national doing national
opposite you at Ojo. I'm building a brand new general hospital for you by Ojo Cantonment. It's about 60-50.
I thought it was a
It's an
that's the
hospital.
criticism.
Oh, that's the criticism.
I wanted to criticize you because you opened another primary healthcare center in Amuwo. I was like, a general hospital.
Ojo, right opposite by
whether it's Ojo, it's close. It's better than going all the way to Alimosho.
Absolutely, by the Army Cantonment. That's your Ojo General Hospital.
So that place,
yes.
Thank you, sir.
So we're doing that.
I wish I had not said. I want to criticize.
Let's go back.
So in terms of also other soft ins, look at it. We're the only ones that have kept our doctors all the while when resident doctors were on strike. Not one day were we on strike. It's because we're able to sit with them and solve. I have, the best, residency care center in Lasut now. I have rooms for not just, for house officers, for residents. We're building doctors' quarters in Bagara. We're building doctors' quarters in Lasut. We're ensuring that they can indeed feel good coming to work. For health, it's one of the only places that I have what we call an automatic replacement. If a doctor leaves, they don't need my approval to replace that doctor automatically. We're the highest employer in the medical field in the entire country. Lasut today is the best tertiary health facility that we have in the country. And so for critical care, we're not joking about it. These are very expensive things that we need to continue to keep up with. But we know that the solution, some people will say, is that it should be one health, coverage. What are we doing with primary health? So that people don't need to go to Lasut. We've built additional, we have a design for our primary health. We've built additional 15 that we're building. On primary health.
It's one thing to build sites, another thing to equip. It's another thing to have the right. Yes, go ahead. Add to that.
So I want to add to that. Yeah. So I hear what you say, and maybe infrastructure we can see that. Yeah. But regular Lagosians will tell you you're going to the hospital, and there's so many issues that you're dealing with. Yeah. You're the highest employer of doctors, but you're also the highest jackpot doctors coming, from...
Not necessarily. Go do the numbers.
Okay.
Go do the numbers. My own is... We don't have that attrition like other parts of the country. We don't.
I think we need a system that sort of... checkmate or check what these hospitals are doing? When Lagosians go into hospitals, are they getting the care that they are supposed to get? Are they getting the drugs? Are there beds? Is there proper care for patients? Because you would have Lagosians tell you some really sad experiences.
So Lagosians would say, people would say, but let's the fact also speak for itself, right? We're in a system where we don't have a foolproof, citizens' data, where we can say for ourselves how many people come from Ebonyi State or come from different part of the country to come and receive health care here. I know the numbers because when you go to Lasut in the morning, at 6:30 in the morning, the whole place is filled up. Crowd. And when you go find out, you realize that a lot of them came by overnight bus into Lagos just so that they can receive that care.
An attest.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very. That's what you see, Miriam. So what we know is that if we can manage that influx, then we can do a lot better job, especially if it is predictable. But in all of our general hospitals now, if you are on our care list, we are expecting you. We know how to better prepare for you. The number speaks for itself. Right. I've got over 30 general hospitals. Nobody has any number close to that. No. Nobody. Right. And like I said to you, our doctors, I'm still the only one paying full employment for resident doctors. 100% of their examination fees. Right. Year on year.
All right, let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines to hear from Lagosians and take some messages on our Twitter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka the First. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Gbenga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the question.
You don't scare me one bit. Bata, I go drink. So.
Okay. So now one chance for enter.
My first question. Do you remember the names?
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to open our phone lines. You can call us on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so I wanted to talk about another things your critics always say. Because they see that you are a huge supporter of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's coming into the office. And they talk about this blueprint that Lagos State, blueprints, they blueprint from Fashola, from this person, they went this. I said, where is this blueprint, Morayo? Have you your own eyes seen the blueprint? He said, does it must be a document, or it's not just an ideology that's being passed from people, but could you tell us, why do people give Asiwaju credit for a lot of things we see in Lagos? Is there a real connection?
Okay. No, they said Lagos already existed before he was governor, so why is he being given credit for building Lagos?
Thank you very much. And I see these are instructive learning point that we need to put forward. So I joined him with all sense of humility 20 years ago. I was a general manager in my bank with a corner office. November 2002, precisely, so about 20 years ago. And we had criticized government 3-4 years, 2-3 years before then. And I had that real opportunity. I appointed a special. So from very first day, I was in his cabinet when I joined in 2002. And I saw things firsthand, for me, even before the end of his first tenure. So I'm a living witness, and it's not anything that we're blabbing about. It's something that we know. So what happened at that time, right? We set up documents called the seed document, so which are Lagos State Economic Development document. We also have what we call a 10-point agenda, right? It's like what I call a team's agenda now. 10-point agenda had, revenue generation, transportation, public this, public that, all of that were encapsulated in the seeds and in the seed document, which are economic documents. Well, we set up and started the Mbeti, year-on-year economic summit, where you take inputs from the private sector, put it into your own flesh of document, and becomes a working paper that you can live with moving forward, right? So in that his own 8 years as governor, I worked with him closely for at least 5 years. 1 year before the end of his first tenure and the entire 4 years of his second tenure. So I was commissioner for economic planning. So I was part of all of those documents that were developed. Lamata, for example, that we talked about, it's not out of place. We had that robust, he set up Lamata with the World Bank. In 2002, 2000, I was one of the people that first recruited the first set of people that worked in Lamata. It was a World Bank, one of the best World Bank, transport infrastructure, agencies that anybody can see in the world. So those are, and it was the beginning of democracy, 1999. Coming from a military rule where it's not a government of inclusiveness. Now starting up in 1999 with a government that have the opportunity to include the citizens, listen to them, have an engagement. It was more like an all-inclusive role. So that was how that blueprint was developed. And they had like a 20-year development plan, which of course BRF also improved upon, took away some, add on to it, and similar thing. Ourselves, that's really what it means. And because there's also been continuity in all of these things, we were able to see what the challenges of the previous government is, what are the things you need to take on and use very quickly, and have a springboard movement into your own government. So that's one of the things that have helped us. And so we give him that credit because he was the one that was able to bake the first retinue of very intelligent people that
Let me take this call. Yakub, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
First caller of the year.
Good morning. Yeah, thanks to you. Because of the time. Good morning, Mr. Governor.
Good morning, Yakub.
You see, Mario, I totally agree with Mr. Governor this morning. Why? Because Lagos is working fully. Because I can say that in my area here, as I'm talking to you, a lot of streets is under construction and like almost 10 at a time. I've never seen that before, but I want to have a controversial question, and then I wouldn't like Mr. Governor to bend that answer. You should go straight to that answer and give it to us, so that The question is this, sir. If you are moving in Lagos State as a commercial board, you will see all these, are you listening to me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. This NURCW, we want to know all this money they were collected from the commercial board because it takes a lot of money. Where this money is going to, where are they remit the money to? Are they remit this money to Lagos State Government Board or they are paying the money to National Board? We want to know because they collect a lot of money without not using it for anything.
Okay, that's a fair question. Let me let you answer.
Well, I mean, so you're right. There are issues that we need to resolve with, the transportation sector. And you see, we started. At some point, we actually prescribed them, right? And that's why we set up, the parking authority so that indeed we can sit with them and we're beginning to get a lot more mileage than what it was 6-8 months ago, right? We're not fully out of it yet because it's a system that has been in existence for decades. So you're not going to one day just sleep and wake up and it's all changing. They sit with us now. And Odumosu, who was a former, CP, right, heads that parking authority, right, with the former permanent secretary in Ministry of Tourism, And so these are very seasoned civil servants that are sitting with them and ensuring that these are the rules of engagement in which you need to get cleared up. And they will tell us, okay, give us 1 week, give us 1 month for us to change all of these things. So these are citizens that we also need to understand that they are stakeholders in some sort, right? But we need to be able to bring bear, right, some level of civility, some level of organization in the things that they do, and we're getting around it, and it's getting improved. Part of the things that we see is also the level of recklessness that also happens with their national board. A lot of the money are actually shipped to Abuja at their national body, which is the truth.
And the money is staying home.
And we're saying to them, what are you also using these interventions for? How are you retraining your drivers, your conductors, for them to be best behaved, right? How are you going to refleet your vehicles? Ensure that these vehicles are not rickety, they're not run down, they're not chain people's. You don't go on a bus and you come out, with one leg, cut off and rest of. So these are the conversations, and we're helping them.
Are they the same drivers with the last mile? Are they going to be the same drivers driving these our new buses?
No, well, not they're not, but we also include them. We also give them some fleet so that you need to include them in some. So there are other transport companies that are private transport companies, right, that are actually the ones, running this.
Okay, let me take Yakub, or not Yakub, Miss Hassan from Lekki. Hassan, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir.
New Year. To the executive members and the executive governor of Lagos.
Yes,
let me congratulate you first, Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Thank you.
For taking the bull by the horn, by fighting two major works to the ground state. Esther and Cody, congratulations for your performance.
Thank you.
Secondly, Mr. Governor, we saw the infrastructure drive going on in Lagos State. Under your leadership, your predecessor, and the first predecessor, Mr. Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, your mentor, the mentor of Nigeria, a progressive governor, a leader, a father, and a communication.
Hassan, do you have a question? You don't have time more.
Okay, here is it. Mr. Governor, please. You have some other small things to do for us.
Yeah.
You think in our road, in Lekki area, need to be looked into.
Okay.
Come to Money Road, come to all these settlement areas, practice from Abuja.
Okay.
So I have.
Okay, so we got the point. So I go be all the inner road. Yes. Not just Lekki, across the state.
No,
what are we doing?
Inner routes generally.
Yeah.
So as we speak, we're working with the local government first. We're doing 114 inner roads. With the 57 local, we said to them, let's take 2, right? And let's help you jointly to fix them. That's one. The Public Works Bureau, because Lagos has over 10,000, roads in one form or the other. The Public Works Bureau at any point in time have about 200 roads that they are trying to fix or patch. The Lekki, the challenge there is also the level of use, and the amount of development that is happening there. And so one of the things that we plead with people, when you fix those roads and there's another construction coming, by the time they bring all of the trucks and the rest of it, and they are piling, granites and all of the things onto the drainages, it gets blocked. These are some of the challenges that we have to be able to do because they are not completely built up yet. So each time when you go back there, you see, they are culprits, So you see that they will have tilted, all of their gravel and sand, block the drainage, and you have to come and excavate and clean them up again. These are some of it, and they destroy some of the drainage.
We have to run out of time. Let me let Mariam jump in. Let Mariam jump in, then they'll come.
I just want to talk about the personality of Mr. Governor. So I know a lot of times we talk about projects and what you do for many, top personalities. I remember when you first came in, when you said that you prefer to be referred to as Mr. Governor. And also many times people will talk about the fact that you're being controlled by someone, or and here we are talking to you, and if you see the messages also on social media, the response is, this is a man who's on ground, who knows what he's doing. So I would like to know what motivates you. Why do you do what you do, and why do you do it so well? Is it because you have to answer to someone? Or what is it that motivates you personally to do the work you're doing in Lagos State?
It's a position of humility. It's a position in which you need to be grateful to God, right? Given my very humble background, right? When you have the unique, rare opportunity to serve over 20 million, citizens, the biggest, African city in the world, a city that is projected, to be the rising sign, of modern Africa. I think you wake up every day thankful to God with the opportunity, asking God to give you every energy that you require to be able to serve them, right? And so for me, it's really around understanding what the social contract with my citizens are. Let me tell you, today we have 147 days to the end of our first tenure. I've done almost 90% of my time. I count it every day. Every day I review and I ask myself, how well have I done? So for me, it's a measurement that I give myself every day. Out of 1,460 days, we've done about 1,300 and something. We've got about 147, 147. Yes. So with that level of measurement, I'm not waiting, to the end of it to say, what did I do? So I understand that you have a responsibility to your citizens. Right. You have a zeal, a will, a commitment, integrity to put on the table. And that's what gives me, you know, I'll give you a simple example. There's some telephones that I see in the morning, I get scared to pick. Why? Because the guys on the other side are not calling to tell me good morning. They're telling to tell me that a container just fell off. They're coming to tell me that there's a fire incident. And I need to get up, I need to give instructions, I need to encourage them, I need to give them a clear instruction of how we need to clear and deal with that issue. And these are some of the things that continue to keep you going. You know.
Let me get a few comments from
Millie is talking about the Lagos-Abeokuta road. So they say I'm selfish for focusing on my side.
Yes.
They want to know why the road from Meron to Ahmadiyya inwards Abeokuta is not finished. Said it's in a bad state. Said that there's also an abandoned pedestrian bridge at Kola bus stop in Alagbado. What are you?
Okay, well, it's very specific. I probably won't know where Kola bus stop is in Alagbado. But I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, we still went to commission, you know, 2 critical roads in Alimosho to the border of Ogun State. The Ishegun Camp David Road. No, this is a 7.8 kilometer road. Major artery, dual carriageway. Ishuti Road, 3.7 kilometer, dual carriageway up onto the border of Ogun State. These are major inner roads. And I was still there 2 weeks ago, right? In the first 2 years, we commissioned 31 roads at Ojokoro, which is also a border town.
Those are
with
Lagos-Abeokuta Road is a straight.
So Lagos-Abeokuta
Road is along that.
Exactly. Lagos is a federal road. This is a road in which, you know, the Honorable Minister for Works, believe me, you has done a lot of interventions for us in Lagos. And he has taken that, and I believe that there is part of the things that they're trying to fix. You know, it sits more in Ogun State than in our own beats. Right. And I've been there. I know it. I see it.
Let me take this call because I have very little time left. Mr. Adeyemi from Ijushaga really wants to talk to you. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
So many people.
Hello, good morning.
You're live. You go ahead, Adeyemi.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Governor for all that he's doing. I follow him closely on Instagram and I see all the updates of all the projects. You know, it keeps updating us about things, the projects done in Lagos State, the milestones and everything. I am really proud of Governor Sanwo-Olu. Thank you so much for all you do. And secondly too, because in areas like Ekpe are opening up, you know, the roads are being built, it has given us middle and low income earners the ability to invest in real estate. Thank you so much, Mr. Governor, that I can take my
Thank you very much, Adeyemi. We have very little time, and I'm going to take a few comments.
Omolajo Olatunji says, I'm highly impressed by Mr. Governor's articulate responses to questions and policy issues. He's far more composed and has a firm grip of everything happening around him. Truly, I'm happy and would campaign for his re-election. Well done, sir.
You see, you can't come on Your View and I don't ask you about family, because that's what our show is about. Yes, we do politics, governance, but I have to ask about your wife. I mean, I've had an opportunity to speak to her. She's been quiet, reserved. She hardly speaks. You know, like first ladies. I'm in charge. She's hardworking. She's a professional. She dots her I's and cross her T's. I mean, you can't take anything past her. Say she'll bring your file. She will look at it. But tell us about your wife. We don't.
Thank you. Well, that's one part that I mean, it's always been very well. We're in public, so we cannot be public, right? I mean, I'm grateful to her. Right, she's a woman that has sort of like complemented the role that God has given us now, very, very, with all sort of dignity, right? Like you said, she's a medical doctor herself. She loves kids a lot. I wish she would have 7 kids. I mean, you know.
How many do you have?
You know, I'm a father of the state. I have children that call me their dad. So if I go all and say there's only 3 or 4, I'll get in trouble with them, you know. So let all of them feel that I'm still their dad, even outside of government, you know. So, but you know, for her, it's really about putting everything she has also learned as a lady, you know, to put it to work, right? And I see the complementary role that she brings on board. She gives you your space to work, but she, like you said, she's very detailed. She's extremely very detailed, and she's someone that you need to take very seriously. You know, she's not the person with a lot of, you know, airs around. And I think it just speaks to, you know, the humbleness, you know, of what our family values are. And we're indeed just very, very grateful, you know, for a time like this that we're here to serve the state, right? So I want to thank her, you know, publicly for the support, you know, for our time, and I wish her, you know, all the very, very best as well.
Oh,
right.
Okay, so we have to go ahead, talk. I have to wrap up, but I have 2 questions for you.
Which is go ahead, talk.
Go ahead, talk. Let me get you. I thought you didn't have a question.
I do. And I'd like you to address, because we've had, Maria said we have some people saying things, and it would be wrong for us not to be able to let you clear air on that. There are several times people have made it look like you're implementing these decisions, that you're not the one making those decisions. They make it look like, oh, because you have this very calm man and you're always listening. Yes, that somebody is instructing you, you're doing what they want, that Asiwaju is running Lagos. You know, we've heard that over and over
again.
I can
answer very simply, you know, one of the strongest points of a leader, right, is people to underrate you. It's people to think, you know, right, I mean, that's, and you don't have to be in people's face to get it done. All you have to do is roll off your sleeves and get the job done. And check it. Integrity is what I live with. As a treasurer in a bank, my word is my bond. I give commitments and I keep to those commitments. I say I'll finish something in December. I will do everything to ensure that I finish it in December. You know, by the way, Asiwaju has moved on to Abuja for the past 6 years. For the past 6 years. He lived 85% of his time in Abuja. I've not spoken to him in a week. In a week. But it's a father, is a man that I respect personally, and I cannot take it away. So, you know, so people will look for things. But are we keeping our eyes on the ball? Yes. Are we doing the things Lagosians want us to do? Yes.
So do you have such a relationship with BRF?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I still spoke with him 3-4 days ago. He's my leader, he's my boss. He's a Surulere boy like myself. We knew ourselves way back.
What are Asiwaju's chances, especially in Lagos State? Lagos State, some would say, is somewhat fragmented. Like, there are people from different places who are believe in certain parties and other parties. People would think, in the past, we say, oh, it's an APC state, but now people cannot confidently say, are you sure Lagos State is still an APC state?
No, we are confident. It's an APC state. And you can see the APC government doing everything to ensure that we get it. It's absolutely very bright, extremely very bright. But we will not leave everything to chance. We will continue to engage people. We will not say that, you know, we're about one side of a divide. It's inclusive to ensure that he gives in his very best, right, to every Nigerian that is possible for him to reach out.
I'm so sorry. We'll get to the question about potable water over and over again.
So water is a challenge, and I'll be here to be honest with you. It's true. It's a challenge, and it's because we need to go raise funding that is required to fix it, and it's a lot of money. We're talking about 100 billion, 150 billion. So what are we doing? We have a major water works, you know, in Iju and Adion, right? We're building from what we have now, currently 70 million gallons per day, which is running at less than 50%. Because these are built in 1970s, 1974, 75. But we are currently building a 50 million gallon additional infrastructure that is slowing us down. So once we can do the real big ones, is to do, you know, what we call the transmission, you know, which we need to be the next level of funding that we need to have. You know, it's like power. Once you do generation of water, you need to be able to transmit it, you know, which has to get to all of the nooks and crannies of it. So we're just going to be able to raise creative finance. But I want to appeal to my citizens and say to them that, you know, relief for water is coming. You know, water people see it as part of the social service. It's gone beyond that. You know, the funding of water is some very creative means, and it's not cheap. It's almost as equally as expensive as power itself. But we understand and appreciate that we're in a city in which we need to be able to give our people, you know, portable drinking water.
Finally, you're going to the polls next month. Going to be running the second term.
Is it next month?
It's next month, by January.
No, mine is March.
Oh, yours is March.
But I'm involved in February.
So the point is, I'd like you to final word to Lagosians. Why should they vote you in? Well, again, why do you think you are the leader for Lagos?
Well, thank you very much, ladies, and thank you very much for having me. You know, so it's really not about me alone. It's about all of us. It's about what we believe, what our future should look like. It's about what kind of legacy should we be leaving, you know, behind. And I want to say that in the last, you know, 3 years and about 7 months, it's been a unique opportunity experience for me. Like I said, I've done about 89% of my time, right? But the beauty of it is that we've kept faith with all of the things, that we said we're going to do under the team's agenda. We didn't have time to talk about tourism, about security, about housing, where we've done over 17 projects, about all of the routes that we've done. We will not say that we've scored everything, but we will say to you that with all sense of responsibility, we've earned our bill. We've dealt with, year on year, we keep making 85% of our budget performance. We've doubled our budget size in 3 years, even in a COVID rundown environment. We're doing roads in almost every part of the city concurrently.
Yes.
We're building these things, concurrently. And so we have so much energy to still give on. And so what we're asking for is, don't let there be distractions. Yes, it's politics. Yeah. So people will say that, is this, is that, it collects this and all of that. And people will show you pictures that are 10, 15 years old. It's all politics. But I want to say to all of them, let's join hands. See a train that is moving. Join the train. And because we have an opportunity to do this quicker, better, and faster for another 4 years.
Fantastic.
And Lagosians know it well.
Thank you so much. So
they've asked you to call Mr. Governor back, and they said 2 hours won't cut it.
Oh, absolutely. So we hope to bring him because it took 3.5 years to bring him.
Oh my God!
But I will see if hopefully when we'll try to bring you back again very soon. Hopefully to get more from. But thank you so much, sir.
Thank
you. It was a pleasure having you on our show today.
The
That's all we can take on today's show. We'll be speaking with the governor, one of our favorite governors. Yeah, number 1, and I think he is number 2. But yes, from my own list. But it was fantastic having our governor on the show today. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much for a fantastic day. And Happy New Year to our viewers again. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
What a way to start the year.
Thank you.